back onto the guitar project after a bit of a hiatus. Weather here has been really terrible, cold and wet for, I don't know, like weeks. So it hasn't been conducive to spraying anyway. So before I get on to spraying, one of the things I've had to do is make a little filler piece here. So that when I put the pickup cover on, there isn't like a big hole here which will look terrible, or stuff could fall in and whatever. I actually made one of these already, but I lost it, so I had to make another one. Unfortunately, I can't put this in until the neck is glued on, so I have to, this will be quite one of the last things to go on here. And the reason for that is the neck pocket is not parallel, so it's wider at the end than it is here. So you can't slide the neck in, you have to drop it in. Then bolt it and glue, and finally add this little filler strip, so I guess I'll have to color match that, although almost none of it will be seen when we're all done. But yeah, so that's that. The next thing I gotta do is think about the heel here on the neck. So the problem here is there's way too much heel. I mean, it's obvious that the original neck pocket came out to about here, so you just had probably this much protruding. I can't really just take this and move it back and make the curve here, because I don't know where the heel end of the truss rod is. So hopefully it would be right up the end here, but I can't say for sure, so it could be anywhere here. So if I take away a lot of this wood, there's a risk I might suddenly hit the back of the truss rod fixing point, which would not be good. So I think the best thing I can do is I could come out here maybe half an inch or so, and then just make from the center here a sort of a curve going out on each side, and then blend it in with the rest so that it'll look okay. But I won't take the central wood off, and so I won't risk suddenly hitting one end of the truss rod. That's the theory. We'll see later on if it works out in practice. So as you can see, I cleaned up the trim here, which had been sort of attacked a little bit by the painter's tape. And so since I need to cover it again now before I spray the front surface, I thought what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shoot a coat of shellac over the binding to protect it, so that the tape isn't sitting directly on this plastic. And if I work quickly, hopefully I'll get away with it, and when I take it off we'll be good. So I've made up a batch of shellac. It's a slightly, obviously it's a sort of gold color, so it means my white stripe won't be completely white when I'm done, but if it might look okay. If it doesn't look okay, I can always send it off, just more work. But hopefully that'll get me over that hump, so I can then get on and spray the front. So this is the theory. I'll cut out a piece each side like this, keep away from the center, and try and blend it in by hand with the existing curvature, and see how we go. I think I'm going to need some very sharp tools to have any chance of doing this halfway decently, so we'll have a look at that first. So this is the general idea. This is one side done, which is the easier of the two for me, being left-handed, because to do the other side I need to put my vise on the other side of the bench and then clamp it here, so I gotta go figure something creative so I can do the other side. Right, so there's the second side roughed out. So from here on it's sort of dressing. I think I might, there's a rise there, so I might just taper that off to get rid of that. but it feels okay on the hand, so hopefully it won't affect playability or anything. Okay, right, just dressing up from here on. Right, there we go. It certainly feels fine in terms of moving your hand up and down the neck. So hopefully from a playability perspective it'll be okay. I just put a very quick coat of shellac on it to keep moisture out, because it is very humid today. So I won't be doing any spraying. Although the weatherman says summer's gonna come back hopefully in about three days time. So hopefully we'll get back to that then. But for the moment, yeah, I think we're getting there one step at a time. So doing a bit more on the neck. So I've a couple of coats of super glue on here to seal all this up. There was many dents and dings on the neck here because it's years old. Luckily, by some sanding, it turns out at least 50% of them are just sort of at the lacquer level. But obviously there's a number of rather deep ones that are still left. So I've started filling those with some super glue. When that all hardens up, we'll level it all off and yeah, see where we go. Haven't started on the peg head yet, but we'll get the rest of it done first, especially down this end, because I want to make sure I maximize the strength down here. The other thing I noticed is the binding has shrunk. As many of you guys will know, this type of binding has a tendency over the years to shrink. Unfortunately, it seems to have shrunk in thickness, not in width. But it did mean I had to sand it down a little bit more than I would have liked to get back to a sort of a decent level surface. The rest, otherwise it was all sort of crinkly and unpleasant looking. So, plenty more to go on this one.
I've been a fool. Yes, and I've let my troubles get me down.